Hi everyone and welcome to another product comparison here on the Daniel Live. Today we are comparing two smartphone gimbals with each other, the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro versus the DJI Osmo Mobile 8. They won't make your videos look better because that depends on the phone you're using, but both of them will bring more dynamic into your footage. And if you require a better image stabilizer, these ones will help you as well. They retail for approximately €150 here in Germany by the beginning of December 2025. And I will highlight some features that both of them have to make your videos look better. The Insta360 Flow 2 Pro came out approximately 11 months ago, while I have here the brand new Osmo Mobile 8, which was released, I think, last month. The setup of both is the same. You have an integrated table tripod with a tripod screw on the bottom. Both of them feature an extremely nice grip. And you have that pistol button here on the front. If you push that once, tracking will start or stop. If you push that twice, both of them will recenter. And if you triple tap, the camera will turn by 180 degrees. Both of them feature NFC. That means you can connect basically every phone that features NFC and use your native camera app using both of them. Then you do have that little dial here on the DJI Osmo Mobile that you can use for zooming or manual focusing, while at the same time it seems to be that you require two hands to do so. You do have a mini display here on the front side that shows you the individual mode you're in, and you got a thumb controller with both in the center part of the gimbal. There's a green LED on both gimbals that indicates that tracking now is active. You have a smartphone mount, and I've been using that with covers on my iPhone for the iPhone 17 as well as for the 17 Pro Max. The only downside is if you use an extremely thick phone like one of these foldable ones, it may not fit in here. But as far as you're using one of these bigger phones, such as the iPhone 17 or the 17 Pro Max, it was no problem to fit the phone in there, to stabilize the footage and to use all the features that both of them offer. Insta360 has, in my point of view, the better design. You have these transparent covers here around, and one important feature that DJI does not offer: a mirror. So if you're using the front camera of your phone, it's so simple, but you can tell already if you will be in the frame or not. And I do like the white design more than this gray version here. But as I said, that's my personal opinion. The DJI Osmo Mobile 8 weighs operational 370 grams. It features a 3350 milliampere internal battery that lasts for 10 hours. And you do have a USB-C port on the side, which charges the gimbal within 2 hours. And you can use the other USB-C port that comes out of the gimbal to charge your phone at the same time while you're recording. Same feature with Insta360, however the internal battery of the Flow 2 Pro is at 1100 milliampere hours. It lasts also for 10 hours, so I think the energy management is better with Insta360. However, you can charge your phone even more with the DJI version. Same applies here. It takes about 2 hours to charge that gimbal, and at the same time you can charge your phone. Let's speak about handling very quick. So the grip is just perfect. It fits perfectly in my hands, but that depends also on your hands if you have really small or really big hands, but everything is nice in reach. However, as you can see from this side here, you do have a thumb controller here in the middle. You do have that small display. You don't have a display here that indicates the mode you're in. However, these little modes are covered by a white background light. It's much easier to zoom with Insta360 because you have that zoom wheel right here, and I can do that with one hand, while on DJI it seems to be that I require a second hand. But if you're following someone and if you keep tracking on something, that's the same with both versions. With both you can get an extra tracking module that helps to make the tracking even better. These ones include an LED where you can change the white balance and the intensity and to film yourself when it's dark. You do have also a green LED that indicates that you're tracking something, while it's a bit more easy to see because there's a little stripe on the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro that goes around 270 degrees. And if you're using a third-party app such as Instagram, FaceTime, WhatsApp, you can tell already from far away that the gimbal is tracking you because of that green LED stripe. Speaking about video and tracking, your videos won't look better by just buying one of these gimbals. because that mainly depends on your phone's camera. However, the biggest arguments for these gimbals are that your videos will look more dynamic. That means you can create time lapses from left to right, right to left, or use an individual movement. You can get extremely smooth videos with both of them. You can take video footage quite easily from the ground because of the extension that both of them have, as seen right here. So it's super easy to track something or someone. It doesn't matter if you hold your phone in landscape or portrait mode. The tracking is extremely precise and well made on both of them. So if you want to track a building, an animal, yourself, you either use the pistol button if you want to track yourself. So both apps detect you quite easily, and if you want to track something that is stationary, like a building or something, you just draw a little square around that and it keeps that in focus. Then you got gesture control, which helps you to film yourself if you have placed that gimbal on a tripod, for instance. And that worked much better with Insta360 without the tracking module than with DJI using the tracking module. For some reason, I have no idea why that worked better. If it started to track me at a certain point, it worked perfectly with both of them. But when I used the gesture control with DJI, it sometimes didn't recognize me, even with the tracking module. And that worked much better with the Insta360 version. And that's extremely useful if you're a single content creator. So if you don't have someone that is filming you and you have placed that gimbal somewhere, on a tripod, on a desk, and you want to bring in some more movement into your videos. And it's also really nice if you go on vacation and you want to capture a sunrise, sunset, you set a starting point, an end point, and without any required post-editing, you get videos like these. So if you like this video so far, make sure to get one of these gimbals using the link in the video description below, because with these links you can support my channel and my work here on YouTube. However, I use this power bank here, which has two integrated USB-C cables, one which you can use around your backpack or you set it up on a tripod, and the other cable you can use it to charge the gimbal at the same time while you charge your phone through the gimbal if you have a long shooting day. You will find both phones also in the video description below, such as a desk tripod and the external microphones for a better audio quality. As with videos, your photos won't look better just because you're using now a gimbal. So why would you get a gimbal instead of just using your phone? Because even with something undynamic such as a photo, you can make it more interesting because both of them feature, for instance, a panoramic mode. You have 3 different modes on the DJI version, while you have 4 modes on the Insta360 version. For instance, you can do easily 180-degree panoramic photos, landscape, as well as in portrait mode. And with Insta360, you can do also a globe panoramic photo. That means the phone will take the entire environment around you, and later on in post, such on their Insta360 cameras, you can select the part that you want and export that either in a 16:9, 9:16, 1:1 or 4:3 format. Let's speak about the apps, because that's the main interface you're using when you use one of these gimbals. Both of them are for free. That's the Insta360 app or that's the DJI Mimo app. With both, I noticed that you don't have 4K 50, but you do have 4K 24, 25, 30 and 60 frames per second. And even if you use a phone that would be able to record in 4K 120, such as the iPhone 17 Pro Max, that doesn't work for some reason, so you don't get the higher frame rate even if your phone is able to do that. And even if you want to take a slow motion clip in 4K, let's say with 120 frames per second, that doesn't work with both of them, even if your phone supports that. The maximum you can go is 1080p with 8 times deceleration. The DJI app itself is the same with all DJI devices. That's a big advantage, first of all. So if you've been using DJI products, such as a 360-degree camera, an action camera, it's the same interface. Something I don't like about it is that the font is super small, the icons are super small, and for my taste, it's also the dark design that I don't really like, but it's intuitive and it gives you tons of different options. You can, for instance, set this dial here on the side for manual focusing. That works also here on the Insta360 version. You can change the white balance, you can use manual exposure, but a frame rate like 4K 50, which seems to be rare, but in Europe we've been using that quite often, isn't in that app. It's neither in the Insta360 nor in the DJI app. Both of them feature also nice presets for your videos. Tons of them are included. The big disadvantage is that you cannot use these filters straight away on your video, so you have to put them on in post editing. While on the Insta360 app, that's no problem. So all the videos that you take using one of these filters will be recorded using the filter you set beforehand. While on Insta360, I do like the app, I really have to tell you. Big font, big icons, self-explained, and many more options than the ones on DJI. However, you do have the same problem with one missing frame rate. For some people it may be interesting, for others it may be not interesting. You can also set the zoom dial to manual focusing. However, it does not focus manually as smooth as with the DJI app. So if you're using this feature quite often, instead of the zoom feature, that works much better on DJI, and we're speaking here about minor things, yeah. Most people probably wouldn't use that feature, but I just want to tell you that it works a bit better and a bit more soft on the DJI app instead of the Insta360 app. Since I'm using this style here always for zooming, it makes more sense to get the Insta360 in my point of view, because I can do that with one hand. Then you got a hoop mode, so if you're into basketball, it counts the baskets and it keeps tracking you while you're playing. Then we have two features that the Insta360 app offers you and DJI not for some reason. First of all, you can record widescreen using one of these filters from Insta360 in 4K with up to 30 frames per second. Why not 60? I have no idea. But you can get really nice cinema looking footage straight out of your phone using the widescreen mode with the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro. And if you say, I don't use widescreen, but I want to record myself because I'm filming a documentary in the city, or I do a lot of live streaming, you got one feature that DJI does not have, and that is dual view mode. That means you can film yourself using the front camera as well as its main camera. You can film the back. You can split that screen. You can even move yourself inside that frame, and that's being exported straight away onto your phone. You can also save these files separately, so you can export the footage from your front camera as well as your phone's main camera, and you can put them together later on in post. So if you do a lot of live streaming, if you do city walks, if you want to explain something to your audience and you want to be in that view, that's only possible using the Insta360 app. And you do have the option to put on the filters straight away onto your video instead of doing that in post. Then you got an extra feature if you want to do a documentary about something and you want to make yourself some scripts. You have a teleprompter. That means while you're recording yourself and you made yourself some notes and you want to look always into the camera, therefore you got a teleprompter function inside the Insta360 app, which you don't have with DJI. So after this long video, let's come to my summary. So both of them will give you more dynamic for your videos. Both of them extremely stable video recordings, extremely smooth video for hyperlapses, time lapses, video tracking, and both of them have gesture control. However, in my point of view, it works a bit more reliable with the Insta360 version. Both of them have a tracking module with an integrated LED. Can change the white balance and the intensity. You do have that mini display on the DJI version, while you have a backlight here on the Insta360 version. If you need a really precise manual focusing, go for the DJI version. If you want to have that gimbal in your hand and you want to use that zoom function, I think that's more intuitive and easier to use with one hand using the Insta360 version. No idea why they hide 4K 100 or 4K 120 frames inside the app, even if my phone would be able to record in 4K 120, for instance. I mean, I'm speaking here about things most people don't care about, but I just want to mention it, that these kind of things draw my attention when I was recording video, and it seems to be that my iPhone can do it, but using the app, I cannot do it. In my point of view, the better app interface has Insta360. If you have tons of DJI product and you're well familiar with the app, I probably would also stick to the DJI Osmo Mobile. Or if you want to try out something new, then go for Insta360. And something I noticed throughout my video recording was I put a phone on the Insta360 Flow 2 Pro and it works instantly. Sometimes it's out of balance, the gimbal will tell. Usually I do a calibration before I start my recording. I do also do the calibration on the DJI version, and it looks super weird. It moves so weird, I cannot explain how weird it looks like, but at the end it looks good. Then a few minutes later on the DJI version, it seems to be that my footage is slightly offset. So it's still stable, but my phone, even without touching it, seems to have moved. You can correct it inside the app, but I did not have to do it using the Insta360 version. So that was my comparison. I hope you enjoyed it. If you do have any further questions, make sure to leave a comment below. And if you would like to support my channel, you can find both of them, including the power bank phone, using the link in the video description. I say all the best from Frankfurt, Germany. See you next time here on the Daniel Live. Ciao, ciao.